Hello everyone, welcome to the lab session of Advanced CSS Concept. So whatever you learned in this chapter, you're going to apply this on the project. Like how to change the rounded corners for the objects by using border radius, and how to bring the gradient color background. You can look at the background color here with the gradient background color, and then how to center the page content. I have centered the page content here. You can see this is the original one. Now we have updated it by centering the page content. And then this image, how to add background image. So this is the normal image that we used image tag for this. We changed it to background image. And then how to include the border, you can see the box shadow effect here. How to bring in the box shadow, textile shadow effect. And then so then centering the page content, all those stuff that we are going to apply whatever we learned in this chapter. So this is the last practice. This is our last status of the project. Okay, so now we are going to modify it like this by applying the concept that we learned in this chapter. Let's get started. So whatever your previous file, we have to copy that file and paste it and rename it as the current file that we are going to make update on this file, keeping the original file as it is. Okay, so let's open our index file in our IDE. Okay, so this is our current index file, and also let's open the other HTML files in the IDE. Okay, so let's get started by changing the CSS. So first thing that we are going to work on is let's look at this, and then we can modify element by element. So the first element that we are going to modify is we are going to apply the background color on the body. So we are going to apply linear gradient. Okay, so let's do that. How to apply the linear gradient on the body element sector. So here you have to apply the linear gradient. So the syntax for that is background image colon linear gradient, and then here from to bottom or to top we can specify that. Let's say it is going to be to bottom, and the color is, the top is going to be the white color, and the bottom I'm going to pick the color from the nav. Okay, so what is the nav tag? I'm going to, because we need to follow the repetition, all those stuff as a styling criteria. So I'm going to pick the bottom color to be the nav color. Okay, save. And then also it is the background linear gradient is considered as an image, right? So let's give background repeat as non-repeat to avoid clumsy look. Background repeat no repeat. Remember, the linear gradient we are coding it as background image. Okay, so all the image property will be applicable to the image, the linear gradient image kind of gradient will be taken as an image. Let's open the page and see how it looks. So we have added the linear gradient color here, it seems. Let's keep going. So what else we have to add? We are going to add a cover. See, this is the look that we want to bring. So we want to add this minimum width criteria. For that we are going to add a new div tag. Okay, so first let's do that in our index.html. Go to index.html and add a div tag that covers everything. Okay, so that means that covers the whole body section. So inside the body tag, open a div tag, and this tag has the ID name cover. This ID is going to cover the whole web pages. Okay, so you can just close it where the body ends. Okay, div tag, save this, and then let's bring the style effects on this newly created ID, that is cover ID. So let's add a selector to give all the declaration. So first thing is the standard criteria to centralize any web page. So that is the width is 80%. You can refer it. The standard criteria for centralizing any web page is this. Width is 80% and margin is auto. Okay, and then let's just check it how it looks. So you can see we have centralized the content. Okay, so let's add some more criteria by using minimum width and maximum width property to avoid content stretching and content jumping problem that we have discussed. Okay, so the minimum width, so whatever the display device is going to be, the minimum width should be 960 pixel. Okay, that means when it goes below this size, then it will maintain this size, and the above it is going to be 2048 pixel. Okay, something you can just give any value. Okay, so then we are going to bring in the shadow effect for this box. Okay, so we are going to bring the shadow effect to give them some border. So for that, the syntax is box shadow. Okay, and then we can give the syntax, the horizontal offset, the vertical offset, and the radius of the border, and then some gray color. Normally gray color will be the box shadow color. So save and refresh the page. Now you can see we have brought the background color. Okay, so we have added background image here, linear gradient here, and then we have added cover. So let's save this and refresh the page. Now we can see we have brought everything here, but I want to change this background color so that the center page will be different from the background cover. Okay, so I'm going to change the background color of this cover so that it will be different from the cover, the ID that we have created now. Okay, so I'm going to pick the color, one of the colors that we have already, because that's the style criteria. Always we have to pick the color which is related to the things, colors that we have already used. Okay, so I have just picked the nav color, this color, the starting color of this. You can see that I have picked it from the body background. Okay, so this is going to be the background color. So we are progressing. Okay, so this is what we are good with this cover that we have created so far. And the next thing that we are going to add is on the header. Okay, in the header we are going to add some more criteria to make it look beautiful. So we are going to create this rounded corner. Okay, you can see we are going to create the rounded corner effect. How can we do that? So border radius is the property that we would use to do this. Border radius, and then remember the syntax to create the border radius. Vertical, horizontal values. Save. You can see I have created a mild corner. Okay, rounded corner for this, and also we want to center this. You can see the title is getting centered here. Okay, so let's centralize that. What property we could use for that? We can use text align property. Text align center. We have aligned the text to the center, and then for the head we can just reduce the. So in H1 we need to add few more modification. So let's add a new descendant selector, that is the H1, which is inside the header, is going to have the margin bottom and margin top is going to be 0. Okay, margin top is going to be 0 and then margin bottom is going to be 0. Save this and refresh the page and see not much difference. Okay, so let's move on and let's try. Oh sorry, here we are. Okay, so let's move on and let's work on this navigation. So we have to bring the navigation to this style. So let's see what are the properties that we have to change for that. So the first property that we are going to change is text align center. So you can see the text is aligned to center here, right? So we have to align the text to center, and also we are going to apply the border radius. I'm going to apply the same border radius as the header, so I'm just copying and pasting the code. Okay, so you can see we have brought the border, the navigation to center. Okay, so another thing that we have to work on is this main body. This main body, it is like stick to the left side, but if you see, we have to centralize it. We have to add some padding for this. Okay, so we are going to create a new element selector for the main, which we have we didn't create it yet for the main selector. So we are creating a main selector, and we are just adding some style criteria to give this padding to this page. Okay, so you can see there is no space in the left side. It doesn't look good with that, so we are going to add some padding. Remember the syntax for the padding: top side is going to be 1 pixel, and the right side is going to be 20 pixel, and the bottom side is also going to be 20 pixel, and the left side is also going to be 20 pixels. Okay, so this is the padding that we are going to create, and we want to create it as a block level display. You know the difference between inline display and black level display, right? So we are just adding, you can see we have added that. So we are going to work on this image, but other than that, you can see we have added this space. Okay, so what else we have to change? So you can look at that. I have brought some shadow effect in the H2 selector, right? So we have to bring some shadow effect. So let's do that. Go to H2, add some criteria, text shadow. Okay, text shadow, and then we are going to add some light 2 pixel shadow of some gray color. And refresh the page, that you will see a light shadow in H2. Okay, so what is the next element that we have to add? You can look at this footer. There is some padding we have created. So let's add that element. So we have to have some padding so that it seems congested here. So let's add some padding in the footer area. So go to footer selector. How can you add padding? Padding you're going to give, you can give any unit. I'm going to give from the current size, I'm going to add 1 more em size. So say 1 em, then you can see we have added some padding here. Okay, and also let's add, you can see this is footer italic style here, and this one is not italic, so I'm going to add some more style for being, it is also italic. Okay, so I have changed it with the tag. Okay, so it seems like we are almost there. We have just covered everything that we learned here, except this background image. You can see, except this background image, everything looks same. So let's work on this background image. For that, we are going to change this image by using image tag we have added. We are going to change it to background tag. Okay, so first, like some other background ID. Okay, so what we are going to do, if you go to index.html, you can see this. Okay, we have added image by using image tag. So let's change it to background. Okay, so for that, let's create some ID. We are going to customize it in CSS. Okay, delete that image tag and add some ID here. So I'm going to create home image ID. Okay, the purpose of this ID is just to hold the background image, so you don't need to do anything on this. Just add a home image ID tag. Now let's go to style.css and add some styling criteria for this newly created ID. Okay, img is the ID, so give the syntax, add hashtag, and we're going to add the declaration now. The height is going to be some 300 pixel height. We are going to display it in that height, and then the background image, we are going to add the image as the background image. And URL, seems like there is some spelling mistake. Background, you can see background image. Yeah. So URL, inside the URL you have to give the file name, the image file name. So the first image file name is fitness.jpg. You can give whatever image you have, the name of the image. Remember that image should be in the same folder. If it is not, you have to give the folder, path of the folder. Okay, then it's not get repeated, so we are giving background no repeat. And then we have to fix the size. Okay, so initially I'll set it as 100% and 100%, and let's see how it looks. And then we are going to position the background image by using background position property, which is going to be center. Okay, so save all this, refresh the page, and see, this is what we have. Okay, so it looks good, but it's very stretched. The image is very stretched, so we can just customize this by changing the values to 60% of width and 80% of height. Save and refresh the page and see how it looks. Okay, this is somewhat better. Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing with the other pages. Okay, so you can just copy and paste the codes to add background images for other pages. So the next, this page is going to be food image the next is going to be fitness img. Okay, so we have to add the change the images as well. The second image is going to have the file food.jpg, food.jpg. And the third image is going to be yoga.jpg. Okay, save this and then go to food page and just delete the img tag because we have added it as an image, right? So go there and delete this img tag and add the id. Okay, so you have to exactly give the same ID name. So what is going to be food img is the ID that we have created. Save and then go to fitness.html. There also change the image and just keep the ID as fitness img. Okay, so we are good. Save. So this is what we have. So just make sure you have added all the CSS components in your ID. For example, the div ID food image is exactly same, and even previously you have added a cover ID. So just make sure you have everything in place. Okay, So for me the cover ID is missing here, so I'm just adding cover ID in all my indexes. So now you can see we brought, okay, so that is mistake with the food. So let me go and check what's wrong. Home page works, fitness page works, food page has some issues. So let's go to food page and see what is going on. Inside the body tag it shows some mistake. Okay, so I have misplaced the div ID. It is supposed to be here. So I have changed the div ID position, then now we are good. Okay, so this is what we are planning to bring by applying all the concepts that we learned in this chapter. See you in the next chapter. Okay, thank you.